Hello again, everybody. I'm Josh Bean from AL.com. I'm here with Jeff Sentell. We're here to talk about the AHSAA playoffs. Football gets going again on Friday night, Jeff. And the topic we want to talk about right now is this move to 7A. This is the first year of 7 classifications. So we're almost through a full season. Has it been a success?
Well, you can't look at it. You got to look at it in a certain light, Josh. And my way I look at the 7A move was it gives Hoover a much larger classification to play in. I've been a proponent is that they always needed to play the largest schools in the state, and now the schools that are in Class 7A are all within like 1,000 students of Hoover for classification purposes. I think that's the overall win for the classification. You know, of course, you can make the argument that a lot more kids are going to experience the playoffs and have a chance to chase the championship. That's good and all. The one thing that you don't see is competitive games. I looked through the bracket, and over the last 2 rounds of the 7A bracket, not one of those games have been decided by less than 17 points.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at football, and I know we've got all these other sports that'll come later in the year, but competitive balance, have we seen that in 7A?
I don't see it, Josh, because you know, look at it this way. I see a Florence team, a Spanish Fort team, I see a Saraland team, I see a Clay Chalkville team. In my opinion, would be just as good a state championship game with Hoover next week or Prattville as what we currently have, and the semifinals would have been much better.
Okay, so we know that this has been a big change. Do you think that teams, fans, coaches, do you think they've liked this change?
I think nobody's going to argue with more football. I mean, I guess, you know, some people have that mentality of like, you know, we're just steaming through the playoffs, especially at Hoover. I mean, I made the point that it seemed like Gladiator at times. Yeah. Like, are you not entertained? And, you know, Hoover's just beating the brakes off folks, but they were beating the brakes off folks in previous years too, except maybe 1 or 2 times a year you saw a really competitive playoff game, and you're not seeing that this year.
Okay, now, the really interesting thing about the playoffs, what's new this year is in 7A, we get a bye week. So the 7A playoffs are down to the final. We have semifinals in the other 6. Do you like this, and do you think this will be good for the game?
I like it. It's something different because, you know, that's really the only smart way they could play 7 classes of championships. You give them a week off. Unless they start putting 32 teams in the bracket to begin with and everybody in 7A makes it, that's about the only way we won't have this bye week in my mind.
Well, personally, I like the bye week. I think it's a good idea. You know, these teams should be rested. They're not going to the preparation should go well for both of these teams. I think it could be really good, and that'll be the first game of the first Super 7 in Auburn this year. Thanks for watching this video with Jeff and I. You can follow all of our coverage of the playoffs at AL.com or AL.com/high.